and welcome. I am Amarachi Ubani. Tonight, abductors of students and staff of Turkish International School demand a ransom of 1.2 billion naira before they're released. The nation remembers its fallen heroes. President Muhammadu Buhari assures that their sacrifices will not be in vain. Federal government rejects conditions given by the Bring Back Our Girls group for joining a day's search for the missing Chibok girls in Sambisa forest. And France hosts an international conference aimed at kick-starting peace talks between Israel and Palestine. We begin tonight with the latest on the kidnap of some students and staff of the Nigerian Turkish International School on Friday night. The abductors are demanding a ransom of 1.2 billion naira for the victims to regain their freedom. The abductors reportedly called the family member of one of the victims on telephone today, demanding 100 million naira ransom for each of the 3 students and caterers, and another 300 million naira each for the Turkish nationals. 5 staff members and 3 students of the Nigerian Turkish school were forcefully taken away by gunmen on Friday night from the school in Isheri, Ogun State. A combined team of security forces has visited the school and has given the assurance that all efforts are being made to secure the safe release of the abductees. Also, the Ogun State government has assured the parents and residents of the state that it is working with the security agencies to ensure the release of the abductees. President Muhammadu Buhari today commended Nigerian troops serving in different parts of the nation and across Africa for their sacrifice to the country and the continent. The president, who gave the commendation while speaking with troops in the Sambisa forest in Borno State, says the peacekeeping force in Liberia and the Air Force in Yola in Adamawa State, though a makeshift operational center, has done really well, not just in the protection of Nigeria's territorial integrity, but representing Nigeria in the international community. Our correspondent Amaka Okafo reports.
A group of pipers from the military heralding the arrival of President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces to the 2017 Armed Forces Remembrance Day celebration. He first takes the salute and then proceeds to inspect the guard of honor. That done, the president and other dignitaries, including the service chiefs, made their way to the tomb of the unknown soldier, where they waited for the bugle. A minute's silence is observed in honor of the fallen soldiers. And then, one after the other, the president leads other dignitaries to lay wreaths in honor of the fallen heroes. The vice president took his turn after the president, then the Senate president. Next was the Speaker of the House of Representatives, the Minister of Defense, and Chief of Defense Staff, amongst others. This was followed by the firing of Voli and release of doves to signify peace. President Buhari then speaks to troops in the Sambisa forest, peacekeepers in Liberia, and the Air Force team in Yola, Adamawa State, through a makeshift command center. He thanked them for the many sacrifices they have made for the unity of Nigeria and the continent at large.
GOC, 7th Division. Okay, Mr. President is here to have a word with our gallant troops. Just be on standby and listen to Mr. President, please.
Your success was received spontaneously by all Nigerians. I congratulate you and I thank you very much for the honor you have done to the country and to us. Well done. I wish your family are all well and are getting in touch with you. I wish you more success.
The signing of the Remembrance Day register by the President drew the cut-in on activities to mark the Armed Forces Remembrance Day for 2017. Amaka Ukafo, Channels Television News.
Across the states to mark the Armed Forces Remembrance Day, governors also laid wreaths with prayers said to honor the fallen soldiers, however asking for more support to cater for families of the fallen heroes. A standout line from the country's national anthem: "The labor of our heroes past shall never go in vain." That is why each year, fallen Nigerian heroes who had lost their lives in the course of war and the living, including all those who suffered various deprivations as a result of wars, are honored.
And raise up the sound from the rifle.
The occasion was marked in Yobe State, northeast Nigeria, first with a 21-gun salute as Governor Ibrahim Gaidam laid the wreath for the fallen soldiers. With a march past and laying of wreaths by governors of Plateau and Nasarawa states, the governors of Kwara and Kogi states performed their own obligations to the fallen heroes.
We should cooperate, we should support them, we should appreciate what they have been doing. And we can only do that when we also become part and parcel of the security arrangement in this country, so that we give our armed forces and our leaders less headache in protecting our interests.
Prayers were offered for the souls of the departed at the Murtala Mohammed Square in Kaduna.
Things would have been much worse, but with the support that we have received from the Nigerian Army, Nigerian Air Force, Nigerian Navy, the police and other security agencies.
While there was free medical outreach to celebrate the day in Cross River State, River State Governor Nyesom Wike initiated a 100 million naira empowerment scheme to improve the living condition of families of late ex-servicemen and the living legionnaires.
The theme of this year's Armed Forces Remembrance Day, appraising the resilience of Nigerian Armed Forces, captures the increasing role the Nigerian Armed Forces are playing in defending the territorial integrity of our nation.
At the Memorial Arcade Ground in Ogun and Osun states, Governor Ibikunle Amosun and Governor Rauf Aregbesola also joined their counterparts to lay the wreath and released the pigeons, which represent peace and unity.
I want to commend the gallantry of our men of the armed forces of Nigeria with what they are doing, particularly in the northeast and even elsewhere in Nigeria. You need to continue to support them with our prayers and continue to unite, whether you are from the north, from the east, from the west, from the south. Something binds us together, and that is our great country, Nigeria.
An interdenominational service was held in Imo State, southeast Nigeria, and later at Heroes Square. The governor laid wreath at the feet of the unknown soldier. He commended the Nigerian Army for its efforts in protecting Nigerians and the nation's territorial integrity.
As we celebrate your courage this day, I want to also thank and honor the widows who bear the brunt of this great loss. You have done all this for our nation, but rest assured that our nation has not forgotten you.
Enugu also joined in to pay tribute to the fallen soldiers. Sacrifices have been made in the past and are still being made to protect the unity of Nigeria, which is why those being recognized for their sacrifice will have the honor of being regarded as true soldiers. federal government has rejected the conditions given by the Bring Back Our Girls group for joining a day search for the missing Chibok girls in Sambisa Forest. In a letter addressed to the co-convener of the group, Dr. Obiageli Ezekwesili, which was made available to the media today, the government says it is unable to postpone the trip as scheduled. The letter, dated January 14th, is signed by the Minister of Information and Culture, Alhaji Lai Mohammed, and reads in part, "Thank you for your letter dated January 13th, which is in response to ours of January 11th, requesting that we change the date for the proposed guided tour of the Northeast to accommodate a pre-tour meeting between your organization and some top officials of the federal government. We regret, however, to inform you that we're unable to postpone the trip as scheduled." End of quote. The government insists the team will proceed on the trip on Monday as scheduled because of the narrow window available to have good weather on that day. The government adds that apart from the BBOG members, local and international journalists have been invited for the trip, while some preparations have been made by the Nigerian military. The government points out that it extended the invitation to the BBOG in recognition of the group's commitments to the safe release of the Chibok girls still in captivity and interest in the welfare of those who had been released. Well, joining us now to talk about today being Armed Forces Remembrance Day and security issues is security consultant Colonel Hassan Stanlabo. You're welcome to the News at 10.
Thank you.
Always a pleasure having you here.
Thanks.
And on a day like this, when we remember, Armed Forces Remembrance Day, when we remember those who have fallen, we remember those who have given their lives and paid the ultimate sacrifice for the protection of Nigeria, what are the images and the thoughts that run through your mind on a day like this?
Thanks a great deal. It's always a mixed grill of, thoughts and images running through your mind, especially when you've had the sort of experience some of us have had in battlefield and so on, when you've witnessed colleagues, falling down or being caught in the line of fire and things like that. Well, as these days come, as we mark them, your mind will always go to such incidents, and you know that you survived it not because you think you were better off than that guy who went down. It was just out of some mercy from God or whatever, And as things have always been, that is the life of a soldier. There is nothing that can be done about it. We'll think of how dependents can be taken care of when such things, happen.
Do you feel that people appreciate enough the sacrifices made and the fact that even though you came out alive, you came out alive because some of your colleagues died? Do you think we appreciate that enough?
If you want the truth, I'll tell you the Nigerian nation is not appreciative enough of what the soldiers, of what troops are doing, not to even talk of the fallen heroes. We ain't appreciative enough. And if I start counting, look, it's so funny, but I think the Nigerian nation has got to do more in terms of remuneration. Soldiers are poorly paid. Can you compare that to what the oil companies are doing, NNPC and so on, and Central Bank? We lay down our lives for these guys, while they remain in the comfort of their homes with their loved ones. At the end of the day, what do you have to show for it? On retirement, you find out you are a nobody and there is nothing. You are taking nothing home. What is your entitlement in monetary terms? Nothing to write home about. You count 1 or 2, 3 millions and that's all, in terms of your, gratuity. And what is your pension? So if you've not managed along the line to acquire some education and you're able to try to see how you fit yourself into society, run a small company and so on, you are just done for. And that's why you see the bulk of soldiers out there looking very wretched. And then when you are lucky to have administrations at the federal level who, as usual, don't appreciate you and don't even pay your pensions, you are finished.
Yeah, it's a good thing you mentioned pensions.
Yes, it's important, Amarachi, that these things are mentioned. A lot of soldiers come out of the battleground, with ailments. For instance, artillery officers or soldiers, as much as possible, would always have these hearing problems because of the nature of their guns. And so on. And then for the infantry, similar thing, you come out with shock and so on. Now you are left with this ailment, you go into retirement with them, and your family begins to manage them. What is being done about it? At times you are told there is this social medical arrangement put in place. I've forgotten what the term is now. And unfortunately, on such lists, you are told, no, this ailment is not accommodated. This is not accommodated. This is not accommodated. Then what is accommodated? Just headache? So you issue me APC and that's all? I think the Nigerian state should show more appreciation to troops, improve their remunerations, improve pensions, take care of the dependents of fallen heroes. What stops us, for instance, from saying, look, for every fallen hero, his wife continues to earn whatever he ought to have earned as pension, for quite some while, unless if he decides to get married again.
Colonel Stanley, we totally appreciate, what you and other Nigerian soldiers have done for this country. We know how emotional a day like this is for you. Thank you for joining us on the News
I really
at 10.
Appreciate it, I appreciate it.
When the News at 10 returns, the federal government seeks to revitalize the nation's ports as a way of reducing congestion. Please join us again.